Okay, well, obviously tonight the pitching for the Gold team was much better than it was starting with late in the game on game one. The Gold team, as you recall, started out very well. Garrett Edwards pitched well. Um, he was followed by who was he followed by on Friday? Wilson. I mean on Wednesday. Garrett Edwards, and then
Um,
It was someone and then Brooks Rice.
yeah, I know who's the
Okay. Alex Bree?
Alex Brady.
Yeah, Alex Brady. I'm
Okay.
sorry. So Garrett Edwards pitched great. Alex Brady pitched great. And when they pitched great, the Gold team was winning. And then, the third reliever on Wednesday didn't have a good night. And then last night, the Gold team did not pitch well at all. But tonight, Helmers and Money and Aaron George all pitched well. And, they only scored 3 runs, but yet they have a nice victory. So once again, it just proves the old adage that pitching is at least 90% of the game. When you pitch well, your team looks good. When you don't pitch well, your team doesn't look good. The only thing that was concerning for me tonight was that, we had 4 errors in the infield. That's something we're going to have to certainly tighten up. But, overall, we got some things done. They weren't 3 particularly greatly played games. I was hoping for more. We obviously have a lot of work to do still, but that shouldn't take away from some of the good performances. And I mentioned some of them tonight, in particularly the pitcher. I love Will Helmers. I think Will is an unbelievably mature kid. He knows the game. He's a winner. He reminds me an awful lot of Austin Bain, not just because he's a two-way player, but he's just got a good feel for the game, and he's a very mature kid. And he's going to help us. He's going to help us a lot, certainly on the mound and potentially, with the bat. And then I thought that Blake Money probably had his best outing. Actually, his last 2 outings have been really good. He threw the ball over the plate, as did Helmers. And, like I tell the pitchers all the time, there's no defense against a base on balls. When you walk batters and you throw wild pitches, you're giving the other team everything, then it makes it easy for the other team. When you throw the ball over the plate, when the catcher handles the pitches, if we play good defense, you've got a chance to shut the other team down. You're forcing them to get hits to beat you. And it's hard to hit. College, the sport of baseball, hitting is the most difficult aspect of it. So if you throw the ball over the plate, you got a chance. And that was the key tonight. So there was a lot of good things that happened individually. Overall, they weren't very crisply played games, and we need to tighten up a lot of things. But this is how you find out about the guys. You put them under the lights. You put a little pressure on them. Some of them handle it a little better than others. And, we'll go into the spring, and, a lot of jobs. I told you what the lineup would have been if it was opening day 3 days ago. 3 days ago was not opening day. It was not February 19th. And now some things have changed. Some guys have risen up. Other guys have not. And it's going to become a very competitive thing again when we come back in January in the 5-6 weeks leading up to the start of the season. Okay. Any questions?
Hey, Coach. Can we expect Helmers to stay in that 2-way player role? I noticed he moved over to first later on the night, and he had that great double into the gap too. Can we expect him to play 2 ways this year?
I think there's a chance. Yeah, sure. We had to take Milazzo out. His arm got a little bit sore for third catch in the third day in a row. And so we switched, we traded Braden Doty in the middle of the game. You don't see that very often. And Helmers pitched for one team and then ended up hitting for the other team and playing first base. But you put Helmers in there. He didn't even take batting practice before the game because we didn't want to have him hit tonight. Steps up, base hit, goes over to first base, picks a ball in the dirt, pitches 3 outstanding innings. I mean, that's Will Helmers. He's just a baseball player, and he's a winner. I love the kid. I just think he's a great asset for us. He's certainly going to help us on the mound. What we do with the DH, I'm not sure yet. It's going to be, a competitive situation. But I don't know. My gut feeling tells me at some point Helmers is going to get an opportunity, and when he gets an opportunity, he might take advantage of it.
Well, obviously this wasn't I mean, Landon had an incredible fall like you talked about the other day. This probably wasn't the best he's looked this fall, but just what are your takeaways from his
Landon,
performance tonight? Yeah, and
you're
how
talking
he's
about
looked for a month. Yeah.
Landon's been unbelievable all fall, and you know what, he left a couple pitches up. I don't know if it was a changeup or a slider to Dylan, and Dylan did what good hitters do. They take advantage of mistakes made by the pitcher, and he ripped the double into the gap, and then he threw another off-speed pitch. It was up a little bit, and K. Doty did what good hitters do, and he got a base hit and drove in the run. Other than that, I didn't think he was that bad. You know, he wasn't as dominating as he has been all fall, but you got to remember these hitters have seen him now 6 times, you know, so after a while, you know, when you keep seeing the same pitchers, I think the advantage kind of switches over to the hitters a little bit. And, you know, I think Landon is right there as you know, I mean, he's going to be one of our top 2-3 starting pitchers, of course, and I'm expecting him to have a great year.
Is it a tight competition for the Friday night role between him and Jaden, or?
I think so. I haven't talked to Alan about it much. You know, Alan might be seeing it differently than I am. We haven't talked really much about it, but, you know, Jaden pitched real well last night, but, you know, Landon's body of work for the entire fall was better. It really doesn't matter. You know, in our league, the first 2 starting pitchers for everybody are both like Friday night starters, you know. It's getting to the point where 3 starting pitchers for everybody in our league are all really good. So I don't know that it matters a whole lot which order they go in. But, you know, I think kids are competitive and they want to be the Friday night guy. And I think Landon's put himself in position to be considered strongly for that. And, you know, we'll see. I'll after the dust settles here a little bit, a couple days, Alan and I will sit down and talk about everything and have an idea how we want to go into the spring. We may let it play out a little bit the first few weeks of preseason, you know, because it's not going to be that much of a difference whether you're preparing a guy to pitch on Friday or pitch him on Saturday on opening weekend.
Coach, can you, like, we talked about the fluidity of from, you said 3 days opening day, that would have been our opening day lineup, and now it's not 3 days anymore.
Yeah.
That left side of the infield seems to be where it's really fluid a lot, where guys are kind of jumping up and jumping down. Yeah. Did anybody stick out to you over the series overall?
Not really. I think they all had their moments. You know, Arnold had a few hits. Stafford had a couple of hits, 2 hits, I think, but then he made 2 errors tonight. Jordan Thompson was really coming on, but he didn't play very well tonight, you know, defensively. So no, I think it's still a work in progress, and we're going to have to figure out what the best route is. But, you know, fall is different than the spring. You know, like Collier Cranford did not have a good fall, and be frank with you, he just did not. But I thought he played pretty well in these 3 games over there at third base. He played with a lot more confidence. Maybe he's one of those kids that when the bright lights come on, he raises his game up. You know, he played well for us last year. I really couldn't understand what was wrong with him most of the fall because he didn't play with a lot of confidence offensively or defensively. And then he was like a different guy in these 3 games. So he's throwing himself back into the mix as well. And I think we just, you know, let it play out as we get into the season and, you know, in the preseason and then into the season. And ultimately we'll figure out what the best combination is.
You sort of touched on this earlier, but, I mean, after a month of watching this team, what are your initial takeaways? What have you learned most about them?
Well, I think we got a long way to go, Wilson. You know, I was looking out there. If you know, the guys like Zach Arnold, who had, I think he appeared in 2 games last year. K. Doty played 17 games or 16 games or whatever. Milazzo, you know, he played however many games up to 17, but those guys are all reclassified as freshmen. We had a freshman at third, short, second, first, and catcher in right field. Think about that. That's 6 freshmen out there. You know, now 3 of them were freshmen in their second year, but they haven't been through an SEC schedule. So we've got a lot of young guys, and I think it's going to take a little time, but I think you've seen glimpses of what they're capable of. I mean, Dylan, you know, hit a couple home runs this fall. He smoked that one off of Marceau, made a couple nice plays in right field. You know, Trey Morgan, I don't know if he had any hits. I don't think he had any hits tonight, but I think he had 4 hits in the first 2 games. He's going to be a really good player for us. You know, I just think the world of him. And Safford is a gutty little son of a gun, that just competes hard, but he needs to make those plays, and he did make a couple plays tonight at third base. He didn't react on them the way he was, that he has been, and the way that I think he can. So you don't want to make, one night, a couple of plays into too much, but at the same time, they got to take advantage of those opportunities. And tonight, Will did not have one of his better games, and Cranford played better than he did tonight. So that's the way it's been, back and forth, back and forth. You just like to see somebody emerge and say, okay, I want to be the starting guy, and I'm going to prove it day in and day out. I don't know that that's happened with a lot of positions yet. We'll see.
Any thoughts on Devin Fontenot? He looked like he was throwing pretty hard. Like you talked about those major league numbers that I saw. They had a couple of scouts down at the bottom here looking at him. Any thoughts on him tonight?
Yeah, I'm not. I have all the confidence in the world in Devin Fontenot. Again, he's pitched. Devin's probably pitched in about 10 games this fall. So the same hitters keep seeing him over and over and over again. I can promise you when the springtime comes and they don't see him very often, and he's throwing 94, 95, they're not going to be on it as much as maybe our hitters were on it tonight or, some of the other games. Devin's a really good pitcher, and, I have no doubt that he'll be closing out games for us in the spring. Enough? Bill, thanks for these last 2 nights. Oh, you got another one, Will?
I just was questioned with Trey. He wasn't able to throw because I guess the injury he had his senior year. Do y'all think that's going to be cleared up by the spring?
Yeah, he had Tommy John surgery, and then he was on a program coming back, and then I think he developed a little tendonitis in his elbow, just maybe, was going too fast. So we decided just to shut it down and not have him throw for the last, I don't know, it's been like 2 weeks. He's been playing in the inter-squad games without throwing at all. So we're resting it, and then he'll start back on a throwing program. But I don't have any concerns at all that it'll be ready to go when the season comes around in the spring. We're just precautionarily, taking it slow with him right now.
And just checking in on Milazzo one more time. It's just a maintenance thing where just the arm soreness, pitching or catching 2 days in a row.
He's going to get checked out by the doctor on Monday because he had arm surgery this summer. Not Tommy John. He had a different type of procedure that is not a real serious procedure, but, he made a throw and felt something and just got very concerned. So the prudent thing to do was take him out, and we'll send him to see a doctor on Monday. I'm sure we'll have it scanned and make sure that he's okay. But I'm hoping it's just a little muscle strain that scared him a little bit. Okay. Hey, thanks, guys, for coming out.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks for doing this, Paul. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Paul.
All right, my pleasure.